We continue with the story of Nechemiah and his rebuilding of the walls, fortifying the city of Jerusalem. Vayeshvu saream b'Yerushalayim shara'am hipilu goralot lavi echad min asara l'shev b'Yerushalayim yirakosh tesha hayadot be'arim. So all of a sudden they're setting up a lot. And what they're going to do is they're moving 10% of the population into Jerusalem. Jerusalem is not very well inhabited. Now, it wasn't very well inhabited because it wasn't fortified well. But now that the walls have been rebuilt and people can be moved into the city in greater number, they won't be as scared. And so they're doing it. We don't know if you are the lucky winner or the lucky loser of the lottery. That's not said to us at this point. The people gave their blessing to all the men who willingly settled in Jerusalem, which is interesting the way the words are used here. It says Hamitnadvim, and we think back all the way to when the Mishkan was built, and it talks about being a nidava, volunteers, people who were willing to do it out of their own desire and not out of obligation. So, right, are these the people in addition to people who won the lottery? Is it other people? We're not told. But who are these people? So we're told. And here are we're going to give you the list of the people, the ones who are in charge, right? And we'll tell you the regular Israelites, the Kohanim, the Leviim, the servants, the sons of Shlomo's servants. Uv'Yerushalayim yashvu mibnei Yudah, mibnei Binyamin, bnei Yudah, Ataya ben Uzziah, ben Zechariah, ben Amariah, ben Sheftaya, ben Mahalel, mibnei Paretz. So, right, some from the family of Yehuda and some from the family of Binyamin, and it gives their names and pasuk hey Ma'aseya ben Baruch ben Kolchozeh ben Chazai ben Adaya ben Uriah ben Zechariah ben Hashiloni, and he's from the family of Masaya, right? And this is going back to all the way back to from people from from Shiloh, called Bnei Peretz, Yerushalayim, 468 Anshe Chayil, from the clan of Peretz, we have 468 strong men. Ve'ela b'nei Binyamin, Salu ben Meshulam ben Yoad ben Petaya ben Kolaya ben Masaya ben Itiel ben Yeshaya. And so from the family, from the tribe of Binyamin, we tell the number of people. V'acharav, Gabai, Salai, Chameot, Esrim, Ushmona, 928 from Binyamin. So we know, of course, 10 tribes have been lost. We have Binyamin and Yehuda, and we have people from Levi and Leviim and Kohanim who are here during the Second Temple period. V'yoel ben Zichri pakid alehem, Yehuda ben Hasnua al Ha'ir Mishneh. We're told the name of the leader is Yoel, the son of Zichri, and the number 2 is Yehuda, the son of Hasnua, which is not with a sin. It doesn't mean the hated one. It's not from that language. Min HaKohanim, Yedaya ben Yoriav, Yachin, Sariah, ben Chilkiah, ben Meshulam, ben Tzadok, ben Moriat, ben Achituv, Negid, Beit Elohim. We're told of the Kohanim. We're told their names, Yedaya, and then Sariah, and told all of his lineage, the son of Chilkiah, the son of Meshulam, the son of Tzadok, the son of Mariot, the son of Achitov. V'achayim osam lacha levayit shmona me'ot esrim u'shnayim v'adaya ben Yerocham ben Pilalia ben Amtzi ben Zechariah ben Pashur ben Milkiah. And the brothers who did the work, there were 822 of them. V'achiv roshim la'avot ma'atayim arba'im u'shnayim v'amah Shesai ben Azrael ben Achazai ben Mishleimot ben Imer, and the brothers from the heads of clans, 242 of them. V'achayim Giborei Chayil me'esrim shmona ufkid alehem Zabdiel ben Hagdolim, and the brothers with also the strong warriors, 128 of them. We're told who the leader is, named Zabdiel. As I've said many times in this book, we have many names that end in El and more names that end in Yud Hey, right, referencing to God. And Yichus, lineage, is very important as this book, as we're trying to establish who is really from Bnei Israel, who has really returned, and give them credit for returning, as most of the Jews remained in Babylon and didn't return, neither with Zerubbabel, about 80 years, 95 years or so before this, nor later on with Ezra, or these 10 years later with Nechemiah. Continuing Pasuk Tetvav, verse 15, Umin Alevim Shemaiah ben Chashub ben Azrikam ben Chashavia ben Buni. V'Shabtai v'Yozavad al Amlacha Chitonol v'Talim Miroshei Alevim, and Shabtai and Yozavad, the heads of the Levites, Umatanya ben Micha ben Zavdi ben Asaf Rosh HaTchila Yehoda L'Tfila Uvakbukia Mishneh Me'achav Vavada ben Shamua ben Galal ben Yidutun. We have these other people from the family of Asaph. Talked about the family of Asaph, right? As the Mishorim in Tehillim. So we have sons from that family, and these were the heads at prayer, and he would lead the prayer. And interesting, like we said, we've had this name before, Bakbuk, which of course model Hebrew means a bottle, so it's a hard word to forget when you see somebody's name Bakbuk. But here's what we're pointing out: it's Bakbukya. So I don't know if that means the bottle of God. I don't know what Bakbuk meant in ancient Hebrew. So he and one of his brothers were the second command, and lists the names of some of the others. Kol Levim be'ir HaKodesh 284 Levites were in the Ir HaKodesh in what we call Yerushalayim. Continue pasuk Yud Tet Vaha Shoa Arim Akuv Talmon V'Chaim Ashomrim Bisha'arim Me'ah Shiv'im Ushnayim. The gatekeepers, there were 172 of them. Ushar Yisrael Kohanim Alavim B'Cholei Yehuda Ish Banachalato, and the rest of the Israelites and Levites, they lived in the towns of Yehuda, not in Yerushalayim, but in the other towns. Hanetinim Yoshim Ba'Ofel, the Tzicha, the Gishpa al Hanetim. The temple servants lived in Ophel and Zicha and Gishpa, and these were the people who were in charge of the temple, the Netinim. That is where they lived, and the people who were in charge of the Netinim, meaning their leaders themselves, were there also in those cities. Excuse me. Ufkir al-Leviyim Yerushalayim Uzi ben Bani ben Chashavia ben Matanya ben Micha mibnei Asaf Mishorim Leneged Melechet Beit HaElohim. The overseer of the Levites in Jerusalem was Uzi, and gives all of their names. And this is also the singers of Asaph we mentioned before. Ki mitzvah tanach alehem. The Amana al Hamishorim Dvar Biyom Biyomo. There was a royal order concerning them, a stipulation concerning the daily duties of the singers. The king trusted them, the king believed in them, and therefore they could spend money from the treasury of, whether it's Daryavesh or Artaxerxes. They were given money to spend, and they had a certain amount of protection from the king. Fatachia ben Mishay Zavel Mibnei Zerach ben Yudah Li'Aramel Chol Davar Ha'am, and Patachia the son of Mishavel. He was advised the king concerning all the affairs of the people. He was like the local representative to report back to the king. Velachatzerim bistotam b'bnei Yudah yeshu b'kiryat ha'arba uvnoteha uvedivon uvnoteha uvi kavtzel v'chatzeireha. Now we're told some of the other villages where they lived, Kiryat Arba, we know where that is, and the hamlets around Kiryat Arba and Divon, and then its suburbs, and as well as Yikvitzel and then the little hamlets, towns around it. Uve Yeshua, Uve Molada, Uve Veit Palet, 3 or more places. Uve Chatzar Shual, Uve Ersheva, Uve Noten, Chatzar Shual, and Beersheva. So we're getting, a little further south and the surrounding areas. Uve Tziklag, Uve Mechona, Uve Notea, Tziklag and Mechona, and its outlying hamlet. Tziklag was also southern. Uve Ein Rimon, Uve Tzarav, Yarmut, more places. Zanoach, Adulam, V'Chatzreim, Lachish, Notea, Azeka, Uve Notea, V'Yachanum, Beersheva, Ad Gei Hinnom, and gives you a list of other places all the way from Beersheba to the Valley of Hinnom. Valley of Hinnom, right outside the old city of Jerusalem. Uvnei Binyamin Migava Michmas Va'aya Uveitel V'Notea, and Binyamin were in the following places, and Anatot, Nov, Ananiah. These 3 more: Chatzor, Ramah, Gitayim, Chadid, Tzvoim, Nivalat, Lod va'ono ge'a charashim min alevim machlekot Yehuda levinyamim. And some of the people of Yehuda were shifted to the areas of Binyamin. So this is really a chapter that just again is giving a description of the places that people lived, and talking about where people lived. It wasn't so simple to live here to return. But it's about repopulating Jerusalem. It's sparsely inhabited. The lottery system, the volunteers who move there are praiseworthy, and we see the different places that people live in. And we've mentioned this before. We're mentioning people's names over and over again, giving the recognition to the people who have moved back to Jerusalem, moved back to Israel, and the ones who specifically here are willing to live in Yerushalayim themselves. So that's an important notion in our chapter, and the idea sort of sacrifice might not have been the easiest thing for those to live in Jerusalem. So like today, Jerusalem real estate's very expensive. Might have been a little bit more difficult then. There were more people who seemed to be thorn in the sides of the rebuilding of Jerusalem, and so we're going to mention these people who are willing to do this by name, so that for posterity, for all time, we'll know those who were willing to volunteer and be there for the Jewish people and for the Ir HaKodesh, for the holy city.